what is your view on like cussing? I know there's certain scriptures that that say like, let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what's like necessary for edification to the hearers and stuff like that. And also, and I was reading James the other day, and it talks about the tongue, how it's like a fire, and basically it can like cause a lot of issues that we're not supposed to like bless and curse out of the same mouth.
Yeah.
I was just curious what your view on like cussing is and stuff like that.
Well, I was, as soon as you asked what I think about cussing, I thought of the verse that you quoted a moment ago, and that's Ephesians 4:29. It says that we shouldn't let anything come out of our mouth except what is possibly going to edify other people. Edify means build them up spiritually. That there are no words which are universally, cussing words, as we might say. In some cultures, for example, in Britain, the word bloody is considered to be a very foul word, not so much in American English. The word bum is a very unclean word in England. And in Australia, I found out when I went there, whereas in America, it's not really considered to be that bad. There's some words in American English that were considered to be more coarse when I was younger, at least in the family I was in. There are different words for defecation. Certainly the most severe word that most of us think of is still, I think, very foul and very unclean. But there are some lesser words for that which were considered to be distasteful, if not improper for polite conversation, which people use very widely now without too many eyebrows going up. So, languages change. However, there are certain words that don't have any function at all except to shock. And I think that's the purpose of cussing, is to shock, to get a reaction. Now, if people don't even know they're cussing, and that is the case sometimes, unfortunately, the foulest word we have for sexual intercourse is a very common word now in some subcultures. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying it's very common, and I think the people in those subcultures they're not using it for shock value. I think they don't even think of it as a bad word. They were raised at a time when perhaps their parents and everyone they knew were using it, and they weren't raised, in Christian circles, so it's just a word in the English language for them. But I think Christians need to be sensitive to the fact that there are words in every culture, anywhere you go. There are certain words that using them is provocative. Using them causes shock or discomfort. And to cause someone else discomfort deliberately and unnecessarily is not a charitable thing. It's not a loving thing. So I think, I don't, like some of the words I've alluded to that I'm sure everyone knows which words I'm referring to, I can't imagine that anyone would be edified by hearing them on any occasion. And a great number of people are still shocked by them, me for one. If I watch a movie and there's a lot of that kind of language, I just can't finish. I don't like it. I can't stand it to listen to it. Not because I'm hypersensitive. I was raised with a dislike of those things. Now, a generation from now, those words might be passed into the normal vocabulary and no one will be shocked by them anymore. But that's not the case right now. So a Christian needs to be aware of what words in their time and in their culture are for shock value, which ones are said to be offensive. And there are some words like that. And I think Christians should not use them because of it having that effect on people. It's not loving. But if somebody doesn't even know, let's say someone who English is not their first language, and they move here, and they move into some neighborhood where everyone there is using some particular words that you and I know to be foul words in our context. But if they use those words and don't know they're bad, obviously there's no sin in it. There's no sin in accidentally saying a word and then finding out later, that's in that culture, that's considered to be a bad word. So the Bible doesn't really certainly doesn't give a list of words that constitute cuss words or inappropriate words. But a Christian's supposed to choose his speech, like Paul said, Let no corrupt communication come in your mouth, but only what is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace to the hearers. To me, that's the standard. You shouldn't really speak at all unless your words are calculated to minister grace and to edify other people. And of course, that you don't have to be all religious and say, well, but if I ask somebody to pass the salt, I don't know that that's going to edify anybody, so maybe I shouldn't say it. Now that'd be legalistic. The idea is that your heart and your mind are set on one goal, and that is to be loving, to be edifying, to minister grace to people when you speak or when you do anything else. And those who do so, if they know much about their culture, will not use language that's calculated to make other people feel uncomfortable.